All right, so we're almost done with chapter 4. Still haven't even gotten to the notes yet. I was just kind of sharing my thoughts on chapter 4. Basically, this is the first testimony of a guy named Eliphaz against Job, making a point that, or making an assumption that the wicked always get caught and the good always succeed. And since Job is down on his luck, he's lost everything, he's sick, he's depressed, that obviously Job must have done something wicked to make God angry. And then he says in 17, shall mortal man be more just than God? Shall a man be more pure than his maker? So he's kind of making a jab about self-righteousness right there. Job has made the declaration, that he didn't do anything wrong. And so that kind of has to do with that if I didn't do anything wrong, therefore God must be wrong. And to say God is wrong is not correct, There was a psalm that I didn't understand. I was reading it yesterday. I forget which one it was. But it was saying something to that effect. But it must not have been referring to God. It must have been referring to somebody else, because God, I don't think God really makes mistakes. I think God always has a plan, and God is perfect, and he's always right. But we don't understand the things going on the side, Like I want to beat up somebody that steals from me, but maybe that guy really needs the food or something. Or maybe this is just how it has to happen in order for something else to happen in a big, complicated plan that I don't understand, but we have to accept how God is making things play out, Like I think of right now, I'm thinking of, what's the name of that prison movie? Cell Block 99, Brawl in Cell Block 99 or something like that, with Vince Vaughn. That's actually a really good Christian movie. It's pretty violent, but it kind of takes a character through a process in order to get to where he needs to be in order to fulfill, it's kind of, you could look at Job and his suffering, why does he have to go through this? Because God has set up this test to prove something about Job to Satan, who is challenging, It sounds horrible to an atheist who's like, oh, God's making this sick plan, God's doing this, oh, of course, but it's bigger than that. If it's representing the tribulation period and the final opportunity for the Jews to be saved, maybe you have to think about it in that totality, that Job represents the Jewish people, and they have to go through this in order to be saved. I don't know. Something to think about, though. Let's look at the notes. 4. We are in 4:18. Behold, he put no trust in his servants, and his angels he charged with folly. Here's the note. Here goes the deadly double application again, which derails all Bible correcting scholars and critics. The past reference historically is the days of Noah, Job 9:8, 15, 19 through 20, 21, 12 through 13, 22, 15 through 16. This shows you the time frame of the book of Job. It is shortly after the flood and before the giving of the law. The law is not mentioned anywhere in the book of Job. Okay. So why did the flood occur? Because the angels were doing bad stuff. And his angels he charged with folly. They were doing bad stuff. They were having sex with women, which they weren't supposed to do that. They were supposed to be helping God run this world, but instead 1/3 of the angels falls with Satan. And so the flood had to happen because Satan was cheating. He was cheating with the bloodlines, and all the bloodlines had become corrupted, and Noah was the last pure person. And in order for Jesus Christ to survive the invasion of the bloodline, everybody had to get wiped out. And Noah remained, and the bloodline was able to continue. That's what I think. The plan had to go that way because Satan was cheating. Cheating. Jerk. You cheat. But it's also letting you know of the time frame of when Job is taking place. So it's a little ways after the flood, maybe a few hundred years after the flood, but before the giving of the law, which was with Moses. So, you had to repopulate the earth. How many years would that be with Noah and 3 sons, 3 women? I don't know. That's a lot of math. I don't really know. 4:21. Doth not their excellency which is in them go away? They die even without wisdom. Here's the note. This is what God Almighty, the creator of man, thinks about mankind. 9 negative comments, 18 through 21. All offensive to all highly educated jackasses in either hemisphere. Yeah. I mean, that's what I was saying earlier. God is perfect. God doesn't make mistakes. How does God view me? I mean, He loves me, yes, and He wants me to come to Christ, but I am filled with filthy sin, and as far as my aspirations in this life and me doing what He wants me to do, obviously I fall short in a lot of ways, and then I sin, or I'm disobedient, or He does have a low opinion of us, I think, but especially in the end of the age and what we're dealing with, it's pretty scary. Anyway, I think I'm going to stop here. That's the only note he's got. What else to say about chapter 4? It's the introduction to the testimony, the first jab at Job, making an assumption about his behavior, that he's been wicked, he's been bad, or he's wrong. Obviously, since this judgment has fallen on him, then Job must be sinning somehow on the side, or he did something wrong, making an assumption that... So, anyway, Eliphaz's testimony will continue. So I'll be back, hopefully, Lord willing, on Monday. We'll see. I have to work Monday night, so I'm going to try to get here. We'll see. I don't like working nights. It's usually scary. But anyway, thank you.